All right, guys, we are live. My name is Paulo Rubio, aka GN. Welcome to another episode of the FMA Dumpster Fire podcast. We had some audio issues. They are going to persist, so you're just going to have to deal with the crackling. There's no crackling on my guests. And so I think that's the universe kind of telling me not to talk too much.
Well, I don't know about that.
But today we have Datu Kelly Worden. We're going to begin with a quote that I read off his Facebook page. And I know some of you guys who watched the previous iteration of this already know, but I think this is really important. This is a good way to start things because I think this quote really frames, in my opinion, a lot of what Datu Kelly Worden is all about. Now, he writes, martial arts were originally intended to be lifelong studies, and most practitioners were committed to a specific system. This internal devotion is due to the primary fact that each particular art was first and foremost culturally associated to a family, clan, or region. Cultural arts were predicated on strategies valid for the era and environment it originated in. Much of traditional arts have really not evolved to adapt to the physical and psychological changes in American society today. Very, very interesting. Datu Kelly Worden. Datu, welcome. You're here with Robert Sharp. Rob Sharp.
Yeah.
The bad man.
And Leon. Leon, come here. Introduce yourself. That's right. All right.
That's so awesome.
He's the dojo dog. Anyway, he's head of the recovery or the revival team. So if you go down, he's the first one there to help revive you.
That's awesome. So yeah, talk to me about this quote, right? That traditional martial arts have not been modified to suit, the physical and psychological demands of modern day America.
Well,
or Canada. Let's add that.
I love, initially like third grade, I was getting my ass handed to me at the boys' club. So the old man, ex-military vet from World War II, sergeant, medic, field medic in the European theater. He was a tough old bird, man. I still just quote Johnny Cash and say, at least he didn't name me Sue. I almost got named Kermit. I'd probably been fighting that much more. So he threw me into boxing, and actually, that was when little tiny black and white TV, and all you had was, a couch pillow, and hit that pad or hit my hands and duck and move and that type of stuff. And, when I went into boxing, I had that movement. I had the ability to kind of shift and move, cover, and sure enough, man, I get clocked again by this little redheaded guy. He had one eye goes this way, one eye goes that way. I played football with him all through the boys' club. We eventually become friends. But he ducks his head, comes in like that. Now, today, I would have classified him as a Choila-foot long fist practitioner. But he was just a flailer that just came in and wanted to kick my ass. So, I got a reality lesson there. But all jokes aside, when I got involved in martial arts, that respect thing, that martial arts, that dojo etiquette, that was something very beautiful. I really embraced that. But
really?
as time evolved, I'm put in this line, like the white belts are down there, and those guys weren't kicking my ass. I was tearing uniforms off, and they were kind of going, don't do this and don't do that. So I was reprimanded for winning and not getting my ass kicked. And I didn't believe in singular punches when, you come from a boxing foundation, and it's all about go. And you stop when the guy's down or you're down, and then you go again if you could get up. But it was difficult, but it was good for me. If it wasn't for martial arts, I'd be in prison or dead, just because that's what the neighborhood kind of demanded. You either follow what was happening in the neighborhood or you became a victim. I didn't like being a victim. That's a beautiful aspect of learning martial arts and understanding those minute elements of being victimized, being humbled, being embarrassed, being humiliated, and that at the same time coming out of that with a self-realized spiritual essence of enlightenment. Culturally, a lot of the dojo stuff just didn't apply to when I leave the gym or the dojo. Hey, it's a different world. I can't necessarily apply dojo etiquette at the bowling alley or in the alley or that type of thing. So it was really a conflict of how I perceived things and how the people really were. So in that regard, you know, I had a hard time with the teacher trying to dictate things. And I basically told him, hey, man, I'm talking to you man to man. You cannot tell me how the dojo is like real life. You don't live in my world. So in that regard, you know, I'm not sure if I answered the question, but the art has to be adapted to the environment that you're in. And that's why I embraced the Filipino arts, because they were tribal. It just seemed more down to earth and more logical and more personal, as opposed to get in line and be where you're supposed to be according to how many kata you got.
Well, is there a benefit? Is there a benefit to that kind of hierarchy and structure? I know the Filipino martial arts kind of has that too, but I mean, so sometimes it's hard to be a critic of traditional martial arts because you kind of get pegged as not appreciating the good things about it. So you appreciate the good things about traditional martial arts, but you're still a critic of the stuff that don't fit your world, right?
Yeah, for
This
sure.
is okay?
Well, I must have a lot of pegs sticking out of me because I rebuted a lot of that stuff from day one. And I think the touching on that tribal aspect of it, when you come to water and steel per se, you know, at the end of the day, see, there ain't no ranks, there ain't no uniforms or anything else. At the end of the day, I might say something like, yeah, hey, why don't everybody line up and stand left of the guy that you don't want to roll with, you don't want to throw down with, you know? So, I mean, everybody, including Mr. Anderson and Professor Trigg, is moving to their left. We know that that ain't true, but they have that much level of respect for the preservation of life and for the individual as an individual, not as what rank is where he's wearing on his belt or his waistline.
So
Really
let me ask a question to Robert real quick. Robert, how did you first meet Datu Kelly, and what was your first impression of him?
Well, I had been looking around for someone to do JKD and Arnis, and it took me a while. I kept looking to touch base with him, and then finally I found him down at a school he just opened up over here, and came in. First thing I got there, he just wanted to touch hands with me, and I was blown away. It was pretty awesome. It was just what I was looking for, you know. And he came highly recommended to me, and been with him for about 10 years now, I think. And that's how I met him. And you know, the knowledge that he's shared with me is just incredible. You know, I still come twice a week.
Yeah, that's how long have you two been training with each other?
A little over 10 years. Huh,
well, it's 2008 that Viv and I opened up that school. And so I don't know what 2021 now, so 13 years, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, Datu, is there are there people who don't like this presentation style? They're like, no, we need more structure and more bowing and more this and that. And how do you fill that gap for people who do like those things, who do like uniforms, and like how do the things that are valuable that manifest in traditional martial arts, how do they manifest in an SI?
Well, I think they manifest internally and individually. I think you get that from the people that you're drawn to inside the group, you know, because we have guys that are, you know, 20, 30, 40-year practitioners of traditional arts. You know, Bob Anderson is a 45-year, 50-year practitioner of Kaju Kembo. he was one of the only kids, 17, that was allowed. I think he started at 16 in Hawaii, and you weren't, or he couldn't get his. I think he even started younger because he was already 6'3", 190 pounds when he was 13, 14 years old. So he is one of the original guys out of the Kajukenbo formulation. And I come from a traditional background, but I think it manifests itself independently through who you associate with. We have that energy. You would think we have a traditional class. We just don't fall prey to, it's a gym. Mutual respect is the key, as opposed to being a forced agenda and, monitored. Oh, I can't believe you said that. Well, then don't go out in public, because little kids out-talk the bullshit I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, like the first time you called me bitch, I got to be honest, it took me back. And then I was like, oh, he's using bitch the way I use bitch. And it's almost like a term of endearment. It was, I went to I'm looking at the certificate of attendance, by the way, of the 39th NSI Water and Steel Camp. And it was transformative for me because I saw badass dudes, next to not so badass dudes, and people who are, from all walks of life getting along, doing this thing. And there were like 11 instructors. There were elements of that felt ancient. There were elements of that felt traditional. But then there were elements of it that was clear to me that this is not your classical dojo. What is this whole NSI Water and Steel Camp all about? Like, what is the purpose of it? It's amazing.
For me, it was also facilitating an education. What was a missing link? So I think one of the best explanations of JKD is Dr. Brett's Sambo wheel. You're the hub, and then each art you add is a void or a weak spot in your arsenal. So you need impact weapons, you need staff, you need spear, you need knife, you need firearms, you need grappling, you need close quarter trapping. I mean, you could have a Keesley wire wheel from the hot rod era, or you could have a 5-spoke mag and really survive just on those 5 essentials. Like they say, there's 4 ranges per se, right? Kick, punch, trap, and grab, right? So there could be those 4 ranges, but each one of those, you add a weapon to those 4 ranges. Now you've got 8 concerned ranges or weapons, and then you add variables on top of that, and then stylistic beneficial aspects. Sure, you have your low art. How many people really practice their low art as a true integrated, fully functional, destroy the dude at this range? Because we're tangled up in a standing grappling, and if you understand foot trapping and body levers and body manipulation, you don't have to do anything much more than a bump and a shove and a foot trap, and that guy's torn every ligament out of his knee, ankle, and foot, So, and he's hitting his head on a bumper of a car, or, that's the scary part of reality that people just miss, The light world doesn't function on mats in an open environment. There isn't anything I can't use for an improvised weapon.
I got a quote here from you speaking about what you just said. And the quote goes like this: "It seems that people look a little too deep into the realm of developing a functional fighting system and in many ways become trapped in theory." So, Datu, when I speak to you, you are so sometimes poetic and wise, and I love reading your posts, but you have this other side where it's just keep it simple. How do those things blend inside a Datu Kelly Worden? This appreciation for for the elaborate and the sophisticated and the fine motor skill, but at the same time, you would smash a dude's head over the hood of his car and get it over with. How do those things blend into you?
Well, I think, and that's probably why I got buddies like Rob and Mr. Anderson and Professor Trigg and Martin Gonzalez and Jeff Johnsgaard. And these are people that live in the real world. So the rawness is part of the core. So it doesn't matter how much technical skill you got. Wow, I'm very stylish. I can move. You ain't got the nutsack to just throw down when it's time. You know, so you have to have that perceptual speed, that reactionary speed, that counter predatory element. You have to understand, unfortunately, maybe what a predator could be. Like I said, I learned about humility by eating it. But at the same time, how are you eating it? Because you're walking in there in somewhat of a predatory position to dominate the boys' club, the swimming pool, the neighborhood. And then you probably learn from that aspect, or you're so aware of that happening around you that you're able to absorb what is useful in that atmosphere and that energy and that environment, and you kind of have a better understanding of what the hell's going on. If you ain't exposed to that, then you're just going to be in a state of shock, deer in the headlights whenever it happens. I think Rob's probably got a few answers for that too, just because of the way Rob grew up, you know?
Yeah, Rob, just to reiterate the question, how do you amalgamate this whole idea that, you know, fighting is simple, not easy, but there are layers of sophistication within it. And sometimes I see you guys doing cloud hands or chisao, and I'm like, wait a minute, why don't you just punch the dude in the face? So how do these things blend as far as you're concerned?
Well, there's, you know, the two sides of the coin. You have to embrace the art and then understand the expression of violence in the reality, right? But until you embrace the art, you can't get to where you can really express the violence and the finer points of it. It's the way I looked at it. It's almost like a safety valve. So you can't.
Can that work the other way around? Is that a two-way valve? You're saying you can't appreciate the expression of violence without appreciating the art. Now, can that work in reverse, where you grew up in a violent world and then you're like you tone down a little bit and you express it through art?
Yeah, you understand violence because you fought for your life on occasions, but to make the art, you have to embrace that until it becomes instinctual, you know, and then the thought process is gone and it's just instinctual to fight as an animal would. You know what I mean? There's no more thought. You're just in that moment and the art is expressed and it comes out, you know, because the intensity of the level of violence, the intensity of the situation. But the drills and stuff, you're just understanding pressure, center line, and these things. So you embrace the drills to build that instinctual response at the time of the violent situation.
Datu, what are your thoughts on that? It seems like you got stuff on your mind.
Yeah, you know, I mean, drills are there to familiarize yourself with what's functional at that range.
Can you show us a little bit of this? So can you show me?
We'll rock through that, but I mean, there's we're gonna have to move the chairs and settle the dog down. But, you know, as we progress through, you know, just make a note. You know, I mean, Jesse always said, you know, the fight don't start until you touch. Hey, this is a duel. By the time the motherfucker says, hey, this is a duel, he should be eating 5 knuckles or a thumb to the eye, because my goal ain't to fight. I got nothing to prove. I really don't want to go there, asshole, because now I'm spending my money on an attorney or bailing my ass out of jail, or I'm going to the hospital. Either way, see, I coined the term, you're a bodyguard 24/7. People misinterpret that. If I engage this guy, the legal ramifications against me and even the criminal ramifications, there's 2 aspects right there that have nothing to do with the fight. The fight created those 2 problems for me. And how am I going to protect my family if I've got criminal and financial obligations to an attorney or a bail bondsman and then to the court system? So now how am I protecting my family? See, I'm a bodyguard to protect my family. The fight is just the end result of backing me into a corner. And I'm not going to go into the corner. I'll distance back and avoid that. But at the same time, I'm a wounded bear, because psychologically somebody's approached me, unless I've got a hair up my ass and I'm drinking, I'm out of control, which I don't, you ain't going to catch me that way. But bottom line is, wounded bear means we've got 10 seconds of game left because we got a psychological disadvantage. Somebody's hunting us, and we're trying to process how and why. So we're a wounded bear, and we're a bodyguard 24/7. And not only that, then I have to just say fuck style and fuck martial arts.
Woo!
I got 90%ers. What works for me 90% of the time? You know,
Damn.
I might joke around during a seminar and go, oh God. And I call that the Billy Madison moment. That where at my age, I could piss my pants at random, you know, and go, oh, look, I pissed my pants, thumb to the eye, head to the wall. You know, I mean, I need every advantage I could possibly get when it really comes down to, do we even know who this guy is approaching us? He could just be the instigator, the point man, to distract me so I could get sucker punched or punked off as soon as I turn my back to deal with this little pissant. So, you know, the reality of ruthlessness has to be cultivated by what you've been exposed to. If you ain't been exposed to that kind of bullshit, you ain't got a clue. Everybody else is going, you know, he's sucking wind, he's joking around, you know, he's a sitting duck in my neighborhood. I don't think so.
Wow. Okay, that's a whole lot of stuff to process, brother. I heard you say fuck martial arts and fuck form, but at the same, but you know, it was. Look, the question I really wanted to ask was, did this wisdom just come out of nowhere? Like, did you not have an ego that got the better of you? This is for both of you. Was there not a time in your life where you would just pick fights for the sake of picking fights, for the sake of testing your art? Was there ever that version of you two guys where we might have said, man, those two guys are assholes?
Not myself. I mean, where I grew up, the fights were pretty serious. They were never one-on-one. So it's just a matter of survival. You know, I started into the martial arts for like tool development and to enhance my skills. But I knew that it was a dangerous game to play. You know, I didn't want to unless I had to do it. And I had plenty of opportunities, but I didn't look forward to them all the time.
I'm pleasantly surprised by that answer. Datu, what about you? Was there a douchebag phase in your life?
Unfortunately, yeah. There's no doubt about it, man. There's no doubt about it. I've, you know, the wrong look, the wrong stare,
right,
the wrong expression. I grew up in this town. I'm still here. There's been a lot of violence from my older brother, my younger brother who's passed away. God rest his soul. The people I run with. You know, there's a certain degree of turf. Don't stroll into people's turf and push your game if you don't really understand what the game is. And, you know, a lot of people protect their neighborhood like a virgin sister because they know what it's like for you to roll in and take advantage of the situation or the scenario. And, you know, it's unfortunate. I mean, that's the truth of that. You know, I was exposed to some of the outlaw biker standards of life early on. And so those standards of life have a noble balance to them. It's not all about outlaw shit. It's about honor and you answering for the violations to society or to a person or to an individual or pushing your arrogance outside your own parameters. And so, yeah, those things happen. And, you know, from time to time you get your shit handed to you. That one thing that nobody ever seems to talk about is revenge. Whether you were right and you thrashed this dude, you still better be aware of what's going on around you. If you were wrong and you thrashed this dude, hey, you know what? My brother came home from leave. He seen a strange car. He was AWOL. Let's just face that. He came home AWOL. There's a strange car in his driveway. He kicked his own fucking front door in, ripped through the door, ripped through the house, and there was a motherfucker in the bed banging his sister-in-law with the little girls up in the top bunk. He drugged that guy out, beat him so bad, went in there and smacked the shit out of his old lady. Hey, I ain't about domestic violence, but the man was shocked and he was out of his mind. He'd been drinking. He was pissed. He was AWOL. he knew something was going wrong in his house. There shouldn't be a man fucking somebody in the bottom bunk with your 2 4-year-old kids, 3 and 4-year-old daughters above the bunk. You know, so this guy got his ass handed to him, thrown out the fucking door, over the railing, needed an ambulance to come and get him. Well, you know, that turned into a pretty bad fucking shit storm.
I bet.
Setup. These dudes were the Mahonies. They were from the east side of Tacoma.
Damn.
Machine guns, all this shit. They eventually got killed by the Mexican mafia. So it ain't like we were running with fucking choir boys, and we weren't running with them. They invaded our turf. They invaded my brother's home. So in revenge, they came looking for us.
Oh,
my little
man.
brother was babysitting. Yeah, man, my little brother was babysitting. They grabbed him, left the kids at the house because they knew, you know, my brother was over at my house. We were partying. So they grabbed my little brother, left the 3 little kids now, or maybe he just had the 2 daughters before his son. But he left 2 or 3-year-old, 4-year-old kids alone in a house, drugged my brother over to show them where I lived. Next thing you know, they're right through the house. It was just a fucking shitstorm. My old lady at that time was an Avon distributor. So as they kicked through the door, they're grabbing Avon cars and smashing them through my brother's head, hit me with several. The neighbor comes out. He sees shit going on. He's shooting up their car. You know.
That is a crazy story. What the heck?
It was kind of a shitstorm. So for that moment in time, we got our ass handed to us pretty bad. There was 5 of them, and we got jumped and invaded in the home. It was a revenge thing. Was my brother wrong fucking that guy up? And, you know, it's not that I didn't like that guy either, but hey, go fuck that bitch at your house. Don't fuck her at my niece's.
That is insane, Datu. Like, look,
But,
do you think
so that's revenge? And I hate to say it, but I've got a lot of those fucking stories, man. My little brother blew this fucking guy's leg off with a sawed-off shotgun. He was in a 3-piece suit, and he was the head of Young Democrats of Washington State. His buddies were like Congressman Norm Dix, Senator Scoop Jackson, Governor Dixie Lee Ray. He had no business with that fucking shotgun. But my older brother sent him after it because there was a problem and he was too fucked up to deal with it. So he sent my little brother to get the shotgun. I'm a martial artist. That's what saves me from the bullshit out there in society. But if people think that it's all about the dojo or the octagon, they're so full of shit, it's coming out of their ears, and they have no business fucking teaching self-defense or personal protection at that rate. But hey, I do like kata.
You do like kata. You do.
I do like kata.
And Años informs. Hey, listen, that's a lot to unpack there.
Sorry, man. That was probably more than I probably should share.
Yeah.
A lot. I don't know. I mean, what is our goal? Am I supposed to be still living with my mom and letting her pay fucking rent? I've been on my own since I was 15. So if you're going to somebody for personal defense and self-protection, they better be teaching more than kick and punch. They better be teaching you the reality of when you stick your foot out the door, you better know what doorstep it's landing on and what are the repercussions of violence in society.
Hey, could I teach self-defense not having lived that kind of life, but having listened to a guy like you for a long time? What do you think about that idea?
Well, I think...
Be honest. I'm not looking to actually do this, right?
I think that there are some great teachers out there that teach good physical conflict resolution and technical aspects of that. But a little bit exposure to reality... Like when I did the article, The Rare Art of Biker-Roo Kwangun Jitsu. I hadn't been in a biker bar for a while, and I was fairly clean. So I grunged up a little bit just so that I could roam some of the neighborhoods I used to roam and recapture that energy. I can avoid that. As adults, we can avoid things. As children, we can't. Children are the real ninjas of the world. They're the real survivors. They're the ones that are targeted and forced to be here or be there. We're not necessarily forced to be here or there. We have keys to the car. We can make our choices. But, you have to experience what those real world violences are like. I didn't have to go to prison to realize the shit that I was doing.
Well, you could have.
To get me in prison, because Rob knows guys like that. He's got an uncle like that. I got a cousin like that. So people around me were doing prison time, and I'm going, hey, I just didn't get caught. Hey, I just wasn't there. I don't know. And I can still remember the teacher saying, Kelly was such a good boy.
That was a long time ago.
The neighborhood, can kind of have a tendency to impact your outlook on life and how you perceive it. I still run into people that we went to grade school, junior high, and high school. They're really great kids. They've got great families, but they didn't experience the lifestyle I did. I just went outside that. I enjoyed that. Wow, look at the action going on here, but I could do it from the outside looking in. So I knew what that violence was. Unfortunately, I got involved in it a few times, but I learned lessons in how to avoid it and how to recognize it.
So what do you teach people who walk through your doors these days who may be approaching, that kind of a lifestyle? And do you feel, okay, answer that question first. You got a young kid, 16, 17, looking to escape that life, and he's about to learn from somebody that lived it. What do you tell that guy?
Well, you got to run that.
Well, that's where the balance, like you were talking before, between traditional and eclectic martial arts is, I think. Like here, everyone's respected when they step out here. And, Kelly doesn't demand respect, but he gets respect. It's different than a guy stretching his belt, telling everybody to respect him, and someone that just gets respect, right? So when you're in that environment, that's the values of the traditional martial arts that can affect the young man, and give him something to feel good about, and a group where he sees respect given and received, So it's not like, that's again, like I say, by the time they learn and can really express the violent techniques and stuff, they're usually a changed human being, walking a little more humble. And so it kind of keeps people from just being a violent lunatic as soon as they step out of here, because this is a good environment that we have here.
Okay, but what, the thing that I was sort of getting at is you look at somebody, like Datu Kelly or yourself, and you're like, that's an awesome individual. One day I want to be like that. I want to have those skills. To what degree did that violent past play a role in formulating the skills that he has now? And why wouldn't I just go that same path?
Well, I think that I just start off with technique and movement, and I try to eliminate the stylistic approach to it. Remy didn't use Tagalog terminology, nothing like the Inosano Academy where I have to learn 13 different languages. You can learn all those techniques, all the names for those techniques, but can you go to those countries and order a dish, a food?
Remy sounds like a real practical guy, man. Wait, did you?
Yeah. So, a punch is a punch and a kick is a kick, right? But I think so by working on movement and working on energy, there is no air kata shit going on. If we even teach kata, I teach application first before I teach you the form. I don't want to waste my time trying to teach you how to perceive or inside movement without feeling that movement.
That's in reverse.
It is in reverse.
That's
in
reverse.
That's what tribal arts are teaching. Even boxing teaches you that. We can learn more from just Western boxing. Yeah, there's shadow boxing, but there's also hit the pads. How's that pad feel? find that natural ergonomic flow, find that line of familiarization, take advantage of your unorthodox, quirky ideas, you know, and
punch and get punched.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
That's part of it, isn't it? And then you teach them the art. Look,
And at the same time, you're inserting these stories. I mean, I tell some stories that make people like, oh, fuck, you know. I mean, I was trained in special forces, and a lot of those guys hadn't been exposed to that. You know, I stopped drinking, I stopped toking, I stopped doing anything when I started training soldiers and had that level of responsibility that my jokes or my bullshit would somehow endanger their life. So I had to be as raw as I possibly could and be as honest. That, you know, I'd often say, this ain't Bill Clinton's army, boys and girls, you know. And if you were in prison, you'd be ass fucked right now. So you better get your shit together and realize that, you know, it's going to be a violent fucking time. It's not a rodeo, you know, and if it is, it's a violent rodeo. So, you know, you share those stories, and you know, all I got to do is bring a guy in like Jesse, bring a guy in like Bob Anderson, bring a guy in like Dr. Brett, you know, bring in real people, you know, bring a guy in like Keating, Joe Simonet. You know, when I brought Keating in, I said, Bob Anderson was my first associate. I said, you know, man, he's into Bowies and skulls and crossbones. He's going to make me look tame. This will be good, you know? And, you know, and then when I brought Simonet in, I said, yeah, he's going to make me look stable mentally, you know? And, you know, and that is a fine line, you know, but what allows you have to realize that if they're willing to slap you down or punch you up, they ain't hesitant to slap your grandmother, your mama, and your daughter down. So you are the bodyguard. If they're willing to engage you, you don't know to what level their level of intent is. So we have to cultivate that. We have to express that. We have to be as honest as we can goddamn be to our students. Okay, train them in the ring and let them move off the ring and be logical in what they're learning from that. But in real time, you know, you better be making them realize that if you're in the wrong environment, you're taking your family down into Pike's Place Market, which used to be a great place in Seattle, but now it's like, hey, you don't know who you're running into. So at what time of the day? You know, it's like the stupid Batman movie where he's scared of the bats, so the old man takes him out the back door into that alley. Oh, bad decision. Rubies, diamonds, and pearls. And, you know, if the guy ain't packing a Glock, he had no business even going to the theater that night, to be honest with you. So, you know, you have to appreciate the ladder of escalation. Again, we're at a disadvantage. We're a wounded bear in a social environment because society is coming at us from a different level of intent, and we're trying to assess. And if we're intoxicated or we're not in contact with the reality of the environment or where's that theater located? You know, well, it's downtown Seattle. Oh, okay. Well, what's happening there? You know, do advanced work. If you're an executive, if you're a bodyguard and you're doing executive work, you don't let your old lady go into the bathroom until you've surveyed that bathroom at least for a second to see who's coming and going, you know, and vice versa. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to what it is I try to teach, you know. I don't make everybody happy.
There really is a lot. And I think part of the reason why I gravitate towards you is that it's very difficult to just put you into one category. It's really difficult to put you into one category. You're multidimensional. The people that you hang out with are multidimensional. Have a look at the screen here, Datu. I'll give you an example, right? Can you see that? So you're here with these, you know, with these soldiers doing some killer things. And then on your page, I see a picture of this guy. Who is this guy, by the way?
It's Taki Kimura. So that would be Bruce Lee's oldest, longest friend, and he met Bruce shortly after. So Taki called me up and, he goes, Kelly, it's been 50 years and they want to bring me to the high school where they took me out the day I was supposed to graduate. They put him in an internment camp the day he was supposed to graduate from high school. So 60 years later, it was about 60 years later, he calls me up. What should I do, Kel? And I was like, go get the award. Look him straight in the eye. You're the man you are today. But, that was the connection. He was Japanese. Bruce was Chinese. Jesse was Bruce's first student. But that was a different relationship that they built on and blended in.
Wow.
Taki came later after martial arts had become a part of what Bruce Lee was trying to share. So initially it was Bruce and Jess, then Bruce and Jess and Ed. Ed was Jesse's roommate.
Ed who?
Ed Hart.
Okay.
So big white dude, my size. Jesse was about Rob's size, a little stockier. Jesse had already experienced racial discrimination. He was a black dude that was kicking all the Japanese's ass in judo. Ed came in. He was a Brooklyn guy or a Bronx guy, East Coast guy, my size. I kind of, jokingly refer him to as bad Leroy Brown. And he was running from the East Coast in 1957 because he thought he killed somebody. Well, if there would have been computers then, he wouldn't have made it. So he came here. They met at the judo club in Seattle. And Jesse was a judo champion, black dude, brown belt. They didn't want to promote him because they didn't want to give a black dude a black belt. And they made him say sir and mister and master and all this other shit and really tied him down and really took advantage of him, tried to humiliate him in many ways. It was a hard way because the Japanese just kept trying to ship people in that could kick Jesse's ass, and it never happened. He defeated them all, so they had to give him his black belt, But Bruce wouldn't let Ed come in. Ed was 35, something like that. Jesse was like 26, 28, and Bruce was 17. At that time, there was no trapping hands. Nobody was attacking hands. There was Shotokan or Shitoru and Judo. That was pretty much the only two arts that were getting exposed to the community. So Bruce came in at a good time where attacking the attacking weapon or attacking the weapon, or the hands, parring and checking and then firing in. That was revolutionary. So Ed was a boxer before he was a judo player, and he could move, right? 6'2.5", 6'3", 210, 220. Pretty tough dude.
Is it this guy on the screen? Is that him? I just stole a bunch of photos from your Facebook page.
That's Earl Squalls. That's Earl Squalls. I don't know. That's Robert Edwards. There's a great story about Rob. He did a little prison time for his violence out on the street. But just let me finish with Ed.
Yes, sir.
Bruce wouldn't let Jesse have Ed in the same apartment. They were roommates. It was Ed's apartment. What do you mean I can't be in the apartment when you guys are training? So finally, maybe, I don't remember how many months it was, but Bruce said, yeah, you can let your roommate come in. So Ed smoked cigarettes and he drank beer. He's drinking a beer, smoking a cigarette. He goes, that shit ain't going to work on me. He goes, I hit you, man. I'm going to snap your neck. I'm going to snap your neck up. I'm going to snap your neck. And Bruce said, let me see your jab or whatever. So Ed fires it, and at least he could see that it was a straight jab. So he had an idea left or right, how, what. So according to Ed, Bruce could close on him like 6 feet. He goes, well, you're outside my range. Well, close on me. Hit me with a jab. And so Ed fires, and Bruce goes, hey, this is peacock fist. I kick your eye out. Some bullshit like that, right? I got it on audio tape. It was a very good, fun interview. I was sitting in his kitchen, living room, whatever. And Ed was like, whoa, rattled. He takes a drink of beer, has another cigarette, and go, let me see that again. And, you know, what's this little China boy going to do to me? That was acceptable banter.
Yeah.
That's all this bullshit is, that the left is calling us racist and stuff. That is urban banter. Quit trying to change society. You know what you motherfuckers are saying in the back room. It ain't any different than what they're saying out in the street or on the rap songs or anything else. It's urban banter. It ain't ever going to go away. It ain't ever going away.
I agree.
Anyway, but we could be socially sensitive, okay?
Of course.
Every once in a while, I don't necessarily appear to be this aggressive. I could be very passive. As a matter of fact, in a social environment, I don't say shit. I listen. But anyway, so Bruce, he said, let me see you do that again. Bruce fires it, and Ed fires it, and Bruce shifts off the other side. See, I take your eye out, you know. And Ed's like, okay, I can work with this. So Ed became Bruce's second student, you know. And then you showed that picture of Taki. Taki was down the road a ways. You know, there were several other people that came in, included Jesse's brother, Leo Garcia. Just, you know, I mean, I try not to be a history book, and I try not to be a name dropper. Just certain things influenced me, you know, and Ed influenced me. Ed was my direct link into Jesse. I gave Ed my videos, and I let him critique me. And tell me what it is I needed to do, what I needed to change. You don't need to change anything, but here's some stuff that'll help you. So, as Sonny would say, add it up. So I'm just adding it up. Remy would say, make it your own. And that's Remy Presas there. So, you know, I was blessed that these guys cultivated me. They weren't trying to pass a style on to me. They were cultivating me. That was Sonny Umpad's.
Look at that guy, man. You train with these legends. You know, not to say you were quite legendary yourself. So let's talk about, man. There's so much to talk about.
Hey, God damn it.
Remy Presas. Let's talk about this guy.
Yeah.
That's this guy. What? Okay. I always hear about Remy Presas. It seems like a lot of people have a lot of Remy stories. So what would you say is something that might be the most misunderstood thing about Professor Remy Presas, in your opinion?
Well, you know, several things. What did he say? How about this? Not what did he give us? What did he sacrifice so he could give us? His experiences, his life experiences, all those things. He became like an ambassador to the Philippines, exposing his arts. To this day, I don't think there's another Filipino practitioner invited to the Kodokan to demonstrate the art. What did he sacrifice? How did he get to that position? Well, he went and learned Shitoru, he learned Judo, he learned Kendo, he learned Aikido, so that he could understand those arts and then blend those arts into what his art was from a cultural connection. So you understand that the indigenous arts were suppressed. They were feared. Those were the thugs. Those were the enforcers. Those were the neighborhood protectors. You know, whereas, you know, if you want to learn martial arts and be safe, go to the traditional classical arts, because they're not going to beat the dog shit out of you. But the Filipino arts are tribal, and they are going to hurt you to educate you. And so Remy went through that process, but he also learned the traditional arts so that he could understand how they function. That's why he called it the art within your art. And
within your art. Did he have a grand vision? Did he have this grand vision as he was living this life, as he was doing these things? Did he have this grand vision, or was he just sort of following his heart? And this is like
he's following his heart, following his flow. He knew that the art contained this master key this master key that you could insert the cultural elements into that and have that natural pride that the traditional arts had. You know, he had a close friend, Dr. Lungston, and that was Topher Ricketts' instructor. And he was the head of the Filipino Karate Association. So the Philippine Karate Association. So PKA was alive and well long before Joe Corley and, ring fighting here in the United States. So, but he was the one that taught Remy different forms and told him how to integrate those into the Filipino arts, because the Filipino arts scared people. So he had this vision, plus his wife Rosemary was an educator, a school teacher. So when Remy would travel and learn or get hurt or fight, she would ask him what he learned, and then she would write it in the syllabus.
Wow.
That's why she's considered the mother of modern Arnis, which the Westerners don't give her any credit, because everybody wants credit for themselves, or they try to take credit away from the old man, when in essence, that's his legacy. Create your own legacy. That gets me on a high horse, and it pisses me off that, they still call judo. They don't, one guy don't say, oh, this is Kano style for Jigero Kano. If I don't pronounce it, you know who I'm talking about, the founder of judo. So they don't call it the Aikido. They don't call it Yishiba Aikido. They don't call it Yamaguchi Gojo. So what? Some white dude can come up and go, oh, this is Presas Arnis. Oh, did he adopt your ass? At what point in time, because I like you, Paulo, can I call my art Rubio Arnis? Do I have the fucking right to take another man's name and just adopt it because I was a student? So we inherit his art. He called his art Modern Arnis. Ernesto called it Combatanton, something like that. Whatever. But they were the Presas family. None of the Presas family called their art Presas. There's still Presas family that want to teach. Remy Jr., little Ernie, both of them have skill, and you're gonna gravitate to who you want to be with.
Why does this upset you so much? Why is it so upsetting to you when somebody calls it Presas Ernie?
Go ahead. Sorry.
I guess you answered it there, and I can tell. Listen, I was at the NSI Water and Steel camp. I know how much you love this man, right? Is there a sense of do you feel a sense of injustice that he's being done wrong by people using sort of his name?
Well, you can't take another man's name. How do you do that? How do you take another man's name? Just if you were honest with yourself. Here you go, back to honesty, integrity, the Bushido code of pride, respect. Are you being respectful if you take another man's name with, like I said, you weren't adopted. How can you take his name? So, you use that name in reverence. You don't use that name like, oh, yeah, hey, man, by the way, I teach Presas Arnis. I don't teach Modern Arnis because I'm so unique. It's like I was his adopted son. I know he's got family, and their name is Presas, but, I don't understand. I don't want anybody taking my name and using it however they want.
Right.
If they thought they could represent it, come on up, step on in. Remy drugged people off the stage when they were like formulating their own American Arnis. That didn't work out. They were certified, qualified, and skilled, but he was like, no, you aren't doing that. And
what kind of a man was he when you guys were just kind of hanging out and having a drink? Or
no, well, he didn't. He didn't drink much, very rarely, but
really,
because he always wanted to be in control. He wanted to, he sacrificed. He walked away from his family. He walked away from his country. He was in fear for his life because he was vocal about the government restrictions that were being put on him. And, you know,
Was he well educated? Did he go to university? Did he do all that, or was he like a farm
he professor
guy?
status? You know, it's funny. Let's say he had a high IQ. You know, again, you know, like Bruce Lee. Everybody's a Bruce Lee expert. You know, well, what kind of underwear did Bruce Lee wear?
Oh gosh.
You know, I mean, it gets so ridiculous. But you could tell by the man and by who respected him and how he associated with people and how he presented himself. He was very honorable. He was very noble. You know, he was like an ambassador. He knew how to be around kings and queens, and he knew how to be around thugs and knuckle draggers. You know, so he was a cultural man. I mean, in truth, education is a misclassified or misqualification and a misperceived value. You could I'm a Mensa. Really? What the hell does that mean? If you're a lying, cheating, stealing son of a bitch, you know? So, I mean, and there might be a few Mensa out there that resemble that. I don't have to mention them, but, you know, really when it comes down to, how do you live culturally and how do you respect others' rights and values? You know, the book of ethics and morals and values is something we get from our parents. It's passed on generation to generation, except for this generation. This generation is told we don't have to pay attention to anybody. You know, we got 8-year-olds going, I don't think how that should be. You know, maybe you should listen to me.
Speaking of this generation, Datu, I wrote this question down, and I wanted to ask this to you. You all right? What would you say are the fundamental differences between someone who started their FMA journey recently, like myself, versus someone who started it, let's say, in the 70s or 80s?
Oh, I don't know. You know, oftentimes I call this generation the silver spoon generation, because they're getting spoon-fed the best of everything. I would, you know, no dog and Danny, but I would say the JKD community is a silver spoon group. They're getting the best of everything. You know, spoon-fed. You know, they didn't have to like go to a back alley or, you know, they didn't. You know, I mean, it's hard to. You know, LA ain't Tacoma. LA ain't inner city. You know, you gotta.
Are JKD people not fighting enough? Is that what you're saying? They're not exposed to.
I don't think that's it at all. I just think that they got to go to university too soon, and they missed the appreciation for elementary school and maybe those real struggles. I mean, I think that. You know, if I was to raise kids again, you know, boxing and wrestling would be their first foundational arts. And then right from there, you know, Muay Thai, BJJ, you know, depending on how they're getting exposed to violence in their communities, you know, direct connection to sticks, knives, and improvised weapons and violence in general. You know, I mean, the art is so evolved now. It's so beautiful. You know, people say I'm a good teacher. No, I'm a good communicator of what it is I've been exposed to. There's other guys, you know, I stopped teaching the art when I started teaching soldiers. My art was so much more defined and, I don't know.
Sophisticated, elaborate, maybe. And then you stopped that.
But when I started teaching soldiers, I just really wanted to go, this is what you do with your entrenching tool. And literally it has to be like that. It can't be, okay, this is strike number 1 and this is number 2. And, you know, let's have fun, boys and girls. You know, if some motherfucker coming out from behind a bush, you know, and I said that to command. Commanders from Fort Bragg were out at Fort Lewis, and literally they gave me the floor. And I was like, okay, so we're going to invest thousands and thousands of dollars in these team leaders and these special operations groups, but we're not going to give them decent fucking martial arts. Well, they got to transition country to country without guns and firearms and all those things. They got to be able to go to Safeway and make it past the panhandlers and the parking lot thieves with their wife and family. So foundation skills in hand-to-hand and close quarter is an essential survival tool above and beyond the educational value of some of the esoteric elements of military training. So, right. I mean, that's kind of what it is. I said that, you know, the raw essentials, and those raw essentials will give you insight. You know, I'm not a nice guy when I'm on the floor. I can be a nice guy, but I try not to even share that side, because once people realize you're a nice guy, then they got a psychological, spiritual advantage on you. Oh, well, he won't really stab you. Let's fuck him over. You know, I mean, if you always think that you're about ready to get stabbed or shanked for something stupid that you did, you know, that reminds me of a longtime student I had. He ran away from home because his dad was forcing him into Scientology. And he came up here and he trained for a long, long time. He left to LA and he evolved. He became, you know, bodyguard for Imperato, bodyguard for, I'll think of it again. I'm just rambling on here, but he became in the outlaw bikers. I said, wow, man, why did you go that route? And of course, he'd been exposed to me, and I left. Even though I still have those friends and those associates, I went to martial arts, so it kept me out of those circles. I still rode. I rode independent, and nobody screwed with me. But I said, why did you go that way? He goes, because there's no more honor in martial arts. You could say whatever you want. You could wear a 10th degree and not be anything other than a sack of, you know, techniques. He goes, but if you open your mouth at an outlaw biker club or a party or an event or in life, you're going to have to answer for it. So he goes, I missed that in martial arts. Kajikembo is pretty raw and pretty still down in that kind of nitty-gritty aspect of it. So certain arts still have that. And so that's why he stepped away from, you know, not martial arts. He kept that. But he liked the world of the outlaw bikers because it was honest and it was raw. And, you know, that's what I mean about stepping on the floor. The floor is honest and it's raw. Anybody can deceive me with a handshake and a smile. But as soon as we step on the floor, I got a better idea. Or at Water and Steel, those guys will sift out who's the bullshit in the crowd.
Oh, yeah. You know? Yeah. You have some regulators
the
in that group.
May not make it through the whole weekend. We don't have to say anything. He'll just realize that he can't bullshit his way through the group, and he'll wander away. You know, people ask me for rank, and I goes, you know what? I don't rank people. My students do. What do you mean by that? Wow. I says, well, I'm not going to be here forever. But they're the ones who are going to have to put up with your bullshit after you get a certificate from me and you go rogue. And you start barking that you're this and you're that. Oh, you run Modern Arnis or whatever. Let my students be the judge of who is capable of carrying on the heritage or the lineage. I don't care if they use my name as a reference to what they do, but you know, I allow the group to validate people. Not now. I can't be bought and paid for.
I love how you allude to this idea that something like a biker gang can exemplify the things that people think they value about martial arts, you know, loyalty, respect, discipline, integrity. It just seems like, and you alluded to the fact that those things mean something in an organization like a biker gang, but there are consequences to disloyalty, to losing your integrity. Whereas in a martial arts dojo these days, you know, well, maybe you just don't write the next check and you can go away.
Yeah, well,
so
I think it's all tribal. It really is tribal, and we've lost that context of what tribal is, or even what family is. Rob, you follow this a lot. What's your thoughts on that?
As far as
just the tribal connection and why
I think there's this surface level tribalism that exists that people want to manufacture and just peddle and market. Hey, look at us, we're a tribe, and then it's not really, it's like the very first layer of tribe. It's like tribe starter pack. But I was saying in something like a biker gang, if you want to talk about loyalty or integrity, losing those things have consequences, right? How do you feel that that's maintained in NSI, Rob?
Well, as far as outside of NSI, what you were talking about before, even in gangland areas, there's this order here, and that's what kept you from stepping out of line, because there was consequences. And it's the same with biker gangs too, so even in this part of society, there's a structure that keeps things in check. You know what I mean? And people suffer consequences for their actions. And so that's what keeps people in check here. As far as NSI goes, like I say, there's a level of respect. Everybody's respected here. And then people get weeded out, when someone comes in as kind of a scammer or something, sooner or later, they just don't last. People realize what's going on, and it's a good environment. You know what I mean? It is tribal. How people get weeded out, I don't know. They just have a way. People come in and they have some weird kind of motives and stuff. They don't last long, and it's the ones that last long here, and everybody's very cool.
Hey, I want to mention something, because you guys, I want to let the people know that the NSI crew, the Water and Steel Training Camp, is very accessible. It's very friendly. It isn't like, because you guys sometimes make it sound like, it's not that. There is a self-regulating element within the community that I think is actually very, very beautiful. The rules of respect and integrity, those things aren't shoved down your throat. They're sort of expected, right? And the community regulates that in a very nice way. But if you wanted to go to an NSI camp just to do a bit of martial arts in a nice environment, you can totally do that. You don't need to go smash up and fight everybody, right?
No, man, no, not even.
I just wanted to mention that. It was really I felt really welcome. There were people, there were grandmas there. There were like really tough looking dudes as well. But really people from all walks of life. So what would you say is the fundamental thing that allows people to stay? Like what is it about an individual that makes them welcome at NSI?
I think the fact that if you're an honest individual and you're looking for practicality, that somewhere along the line, you're going to fit in there, whether it's the grappling and it's Dr. Brett's Sambo, Street Sambo, it's Professor Trigg's diversity of accepting and probably experiencing everything from Choi Lafoot to Tai Chi to Silat to Kali Eskrima, Western boxing, that diversity. And so everybody's so secure with who they are as an individual and a practitioner that you don't get the arrogance and you don't get the attitude and so on and so forth. It may appear that I have an attitude or I have arrogance towards my opinions on certain things. It's because I've experienced enough to realize that there's so much bullshit out there. If nobody starts talking and expressing and telling the truth, then it all gets washed down the tube. So I guess it'd be like, if you got something to hide, don't roll in, because it'll get washed out in the workout. On the floor, if you represented yourself as something, well, we got, Maurice Smith might just roll in and go, oh, really? Dropping some serious names there. You got some game? You never know who you're walking into. Same thing with military. I had a guy that came in, signed up, wanted to be part of the instructor training program. And, according to him, he was Jason Bourne. Well, it didn't take long to weed that out. All I said was, okay, at the camp here this year, I need you to spend time with that guy, that guy, that guy, and that guy, right? They're operators, been to Iraq, been to Afghanistan. They know the name drop thing. one's a colonel, you know, one just got back from the Pentagon, you know, a couple guys are fighters. Yeah, spend a little time with them. Well, he didn't. Well, that tells me something. Why were you avoiding them? You know, and, you know, I mean, it's just like, you know, we just don't want bullshit.
Yeah.
So if you just want honest communications, really, you know, our goal is to create leaders, empower people to really realize they're leaders. I had a group of guys, we jokingly call them the geriatric JKD. What they were a bunch of realtors, brokers, millionaires that were too old to integrate with the rest of us. But they're not going to be rolling with the guys at the local bar. They're going to be in an environment to where somebody's trying to heist them in the parking lot and hand a fist to the nose and a kick to the shin and push them down and stomp on an ankle. That's probably the practicality of what they need to address. So we accept everybody, and it's the most logical, practical. Styles last. Cultivation of spirit, your natural spirit. Who are you as a natural person and a practitioner? And that's what you should evolve to. And then how can we assist you in that? So it might not be me. It might be Rob. I literally recognize people and go, you know, stay away from that Muay Thai Taekwondo group over there. Go over here and see Rob, the boxing, the Wing Chun, and the close quarter. You're not built for that. You better learn this and make it functional. Hey, in the meantime, go see Jeff Johnsgard or Josh Russell or Bob Anderson, because you need firearms, you know, and we'll go right past the martial arts. You need a thumb to the eye acquisition and deployment skills. So I'm not here to create stylistic practitioners. I'm here to create leaders for their family. Those are independent tribal leaders. That's really what it is. It has nothing.
Yeah.
Natural spirit isn't a style, you know.
It takes a village. I love that philosophy. It takes a village, right?
But I know you're running long and you wanted some physical shit.
I wanted to see some.
We were hoping a stunt double would come in so Rob wouldn't hurt me. But we'll do a couple things if you want us to do something.
Yeah, I do. Like primarily, I think what interested me about you guys, right? And I saw both of you teach, and we touched hands. It was absolutely incredible, because while you're all about practicality and kicking ass, you know, for good, you don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. There are elements about traditional martial arts that you interpret in a really interesting way. You say an inside block in karate, but that's a stab to the neck. You guys have this really cool way of connecting the dots. It seems like that's what you guys do, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think we connect the dots that are important for us.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, bottom line, we try to cultivate the technical and physical skills that we're capable. I'll be 69 in a month, right? So I'm kind of giving up certain things, but then I activate other things that are more important. You know, a guy 69, people are going to close on me intentionally, like, hey, motherfucker, look like you got $1 to your name. Maybe you should give it up. But they're coming right into my space, right? So attack by draw. And you know, that's something we covered early on in the camp. And when I said fencing, you were like, oh, fencing. And I was like, no, this is Crasada. This is from fencing. And I demonstrated it more off of Arnis, Anyo, posture or position or whatever, or even if you extend it, now it's a seeking hand, or if you close it, now it looks like a bong sao and a probing hand. So or you know, Kenny Norton.
That's a little bit of that, Philly shell.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And
you can really, or Bruce Lee center body guard.
Is that what that's called?
Stance. You know, and then people look at the Mahjong stance. Well, you're not doing JKD unless you're doing it like Bruce in a right lead, mahjong stance. Well, the camera's revealing posture. Do I need that mahjong stance to take off? No, I don't. I need deception. Oh gosh, whoo, and move. You know, that type of thing. I don't need to take a posture or a stance because the cameras are already rolling as soon as they see that, hey, asshole, and the cameras are rolling. So anything I could do to take away from what looks to be preparatory execution of movement is better off for me for my personal defense. Like, hey, man, he caught me off guard. You know, that type of thing. But, you know, again, back to that mahjong stance. Well, now I'm teaching firearms, or I worry about firearms and I carry a sidearm. So do I want to put my right lead forward? You know, it's just like puppets and mimicking of stylistic views. And it's like, well, if you're so good at mimicking and puppeting to look like Bruce Lee, how good would you be if you could puppet yourself? Because that would be instinctive, natural mobility based off of who you are psychologically, physiologically, and emotionally, as opposed to what you're trying to accumulate through your opinion of what Bruce Lee did or how he did it. You know, there's so much bullshit in martial arts. You know, I love boxing because it's raw. You never see the school of boxing and we're all laid out in a John L. Sullivan posture. Only box like this, right? It's all instinctive. It's all unorthodox. It's, you know, yeah, let me see you do your Hagler. Let me see you do your Tyson, you know?
Oh, that's
How
interesting.
does that sound?
Yeah, that
But
sounds
if I was
ridiculous.
doing martial arts, it'd be like, oh, yeah, let me see you do your Kwai Lai Cho, you know?
What the heck is that? Man,
Yeah,
you throw
exactly.
some terms out there, brother. This is crazy how much martial arts you know. I wish there was a better interviewer that could be like, hey, do you know Kwai Lai Cho? And what do you think it has to do with Mufu Do? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because a fucking guy like you wouldn't know what I said anyway. So what good does it do to throw that shit out there?
Right.
You know,
Well, what are two guys like you working on these days for yourselves?
You know, we work on simplicity and movement and how we can relate that movement to anything. Give us a second. We'll clear the chairs.
Let's
You
go.
know, I could clear the chair.
Let's
right?
rock and roll.
That's the common sense denominator here. The stick just happens to be behind my back.
Hey.
So, you know.
All right. Go clear that set. Go clear that set. I want to see some stuff if that's okay. If you guys have been sitting for a while.
Oh God, yeah.
Let me-
And Leon will be coming out here as soon as we get going. You know.
All right, guys. While these guys set up, they're gonna do a little bit of a demo. I kind of feel like this is one of those like rap ciphers, where it's like the crowd kind of goes, "All right, now do stick. All right, cool," and then they're kind of just free flowing. This is guys, Datu Kelly Worden. Hey, this guy didn't even plug anything or throw anything. Like, where do we visit you? What's the website? Holy smokes. Guys, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Make sure to smash up that thumbs up button or something.
All right. How's the range on the silent fighter? Can you see the silent fighter okay?
We can see the silent fighter. Yeah, I can see you. I can see Robert Sharp.
Cool. Well, we'll just start with that. You know, I mean, again, so part of it is right now solo training, right? How do I train? The governor shut me down. He said I can't have friends, family, or I better social distance from Bob, the fucking dummy, right? I mean, a lot of fucking chain yanking out there from our government. You know, dictators and pricktators. You know, that's pretty good. You know, I mean, I had to make a T-shirt for that one. But so Silent Fighter is something I created so I could have a training partner 30 years ago. I just wanted something that didn't piss and moan when I hit it with a stick or cut it with a knife, right? So a lot of my Silent Fighters at that time I didn't use a sewing machine. All this stuff is sewn now. I would just wrap the material on it and then I'd cut it up. Maybe you've seen the first Paladin Press video, that type of thing. I did cut that thing up, and then I would, I'd rewrap it, that type of thing. And then I'd also take these things out to Fort Lewis or McCord. I worked for the 62nd Combat Controller with Colonel Varash. And so we do cutting drills so you understood how blade impact and blade shock. I've got the dog. He's right there. If you want him, call him through the back door. Okay. But I haven't fed the cats. No. I'm filming right now. I'm doing an interview, honey. Take care of the cats. Anyway, so if we look at the silent fighter, Rob, just crash in on number 1. So crash in on number 1. If you look at that, Tony Blauer would call that startle flinch reaction. If you're doing Wing Chun, you'd be here. If you're doing boxing, you'd be here. So a correlation of move. If I was doing staff, it would be a transitional action to right there. So it's everything. It's universal motion. Again, that gets down to, it's a style, it's a secret. No, it ain't. It's posture, it's position, that type of thing. So on that first crash 1, then crash 2. So crash 1, crash 2. Okay, so if, again, I'm here and Rob reaches for me, I'm on the inside. So that's into his face. I'm finger jabbing. You guys get a good enough picture? I'm kind of move this way a little bit. So I want to set his balance off. So I take his eyes. Now I immediately fold. So I got the foot trap. I'm not sure if you see that. So it might be then that he's sensitive on his hands just like I am. So you see, I can go to that lock, right into that hit. He's bong sound. Now we're trapping, headbutt, knee spike, elbow. See, a little bit of resistance, but it's close quarter conflict. It's like, hey, I'm working the door. This guy's aggressive. He's got to leave. So somewhere along the line, when he reaches for me and says no, I've got to move him. I've got to control him. And now I've taken him off balance. He could go at any point in time. But at this position, I could either strike or I can move this and go to the throw. If he hits me, I'm hiding behind that and popping there, or he blocks that and I'm looking for that lock. Now it might be that kick into that right cross. So it's not about like, okay, we're ready to go. Shit, I don't want to go with him that way. He's younger. He may have an advantage. At 68, I may be like spiritually inclined not to get involved. And as soon as I do that, I've got a less of an advantage because I don't have a psychological trigger that's going to activate my adrenaline to force me to negate or neutralize him. Okay, so there's some things here. So we got crash 1 and crash 2. So on crash 1, if I take his head, I want to pull him in, you see, and trap him and drive this back. At this point in time, I can either drop that elbow in or walk him straight back and just keep walking him. Kind of a hyperextended type of thing. So if you look at that crash, surge, pull, hit. Now look, you got that armbar lock. Okay, hyperextension. It's potential that he could hit me, but I'm also going for the throw. And we're both pretty, like, this is like the geriatric wounded senior citizen class, right?
I think that people who know what's up can sort of, take the concepts that you're talking about and extrapolate it for their condition, their use, their need, right?
The depth that you have. So if I'm going to crash on Rob, I guarantee you, I'll come in on you. He's right here. Yeah, he's just, he just, leaves me speechless to a degree because I've got to get my hands on him. Like I said, Jesse would say, the fight don't start until you touch. I could come out here and do a kick, but at this range, that's where form and training and distance and range. See, if I position myself here, I've already got an advantage against him. If he moves, I already know that, I've got the headbutt, I've got his balance. He can't kick from there, that type of thing. If I'm here, and his hands come up however they come up. See, I want to go around him. I want to be able to trap that. I'm taking his balance. If he's strong, he pushes forward. I take it outside and set that up for the hit or the throw or whatever. And yeah, there's a certain degree of compliancy going on.
Well, I don't want you guys to fight for real right now.
But you touch hands, as soon as you touch hands, you basically have a fire hose here to resist me. And it's now about a struggle. That's what the rotation is if you're doing a chi sao. We could go chi sao and go like this. And that's cool because I get all, get all those cute little fast hits. And I'm not dogging it. I'm just saying there's a distinction between energies. What do you want? You want some chi sao?
Hey, these are reference points, right, that actually manifest in real fights. And just to be clear, this isn't like a sequence that you guys are trying to simulate. These are reference points.
No, this is all spontaneous. Get down, Leon. So, again, if he reaches for me, I'm on the inside. If he reaches for me, I'm on the outside. Hey, stop.
That dog's awesome.
If he reaches for me, I'm inside, outside. See, it could be either side. So it doesn't matter. However we engage, that's where we happen to be. So as I force that energy, he tries to redirect it. And so I say, oh, he's overpowering me. Let me put energy here. So we're shifting energy, no different than if we were here. And somewhere along the line, I'm like, oh, I got the thumb to the eye, knee spike, elbow, hammer, fist, bang.
Yes. Wait a minute. That's like a wrestling, grappling, jiu-jitsu, sambo position. You got a 50-50 clinch, and you're saying this thing manifests in Wing Chun and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, it's a universal posture. Again, if we lock into that, what could I be? First of all, how did we lock into that? I'm here like this, and I get that clap. That could be an ear clap. And at the same time, a bicep hit and a jerk right into the shoulder, setting him up, even if it's just subtle disorientated stuff. And then again, let's go back to that. Since we've got to equalize balance, can I get to the foot trap? See, you're not seeing this elbow going in and pulling his head into my shoulder. If he pushes his head away, he's activating that elbow right there. Now that's an ear clap. I could hit him with a back knuckle or a hammer fist, but I hit him with that ear clap. Chances are that's going to cause a percussion type effect on his eardrum, and that's going to disorientate the hell out of him. So the chi sao, I'll let Rob, again, nobody's got anything. This is all equalized. This is like single sinwali. We're equalizing here on our single sinwali until one of us kind of crashes in, and then we look at where we're at. I hit him with that, but I want to control him with this. I know he's going to punch me. I'm going to nut shot. Bang. Sorry about the nut shot. When you nut shot him, just hit him again. Just hit him again so they forget about the nut shot. But so when we crash, it's about exchange. And, in Rob's level, I don't want to give him a reason to accelerate it up to bang, wow. So I'll be like, okay, hey, man, I want you to roll this, but I'm not going to let you have it. Right? I'm just going to resist enough to where when I feel that you have a dominant posture and position, it's yours, and let's see where that takes it. Okay, so I engage him. It's his turn now, you motherfucker. But that's emotional content. I feel he's, again, I'm not going to let him have something if it's his turn, but he's fucking it up. I'm not going to let him have it. I'm going to look for it, and I might get it. Yeah. See, he's like, am I going or are you going? It's that close to what do we do at standing grappling? So there's a lot of cool shit that you can pull into. Again, ladder of escalation. What is the intent? Can we strike? Again, we're at a disadvantage. An officer is at a disadvantage trying to engage this guy and only control it, because we're going to be exhausted just from adrenal dump, physical exertion, and emotional, content, trying to psychologically know we're being scrutinized, you're putting the person in danger. We're putting our officers in danger. For one, because the son of a bitch ain't complying. He has no respect for the fucking law. He's in society. Have some fucking couth, right?
I got a question for you. Let's say somebody was trying to go for an officer's sidearm, right side. Can you show me something within a traditional martial arts framework that actually lends itself to some real practical things that an officer can learn as far as weapon retention? Maybe that's prevention.
So let's look at, I do have a simulator. I should put all that on, but I'm not going to dress and change and do all that shit. But let's look at postures and positions.
Okay.
If I was going to weapon retention, I would be here, kind of like this. This hand would be probing, inserting. It could be he's reaching for my firearm. Use the other hand. Hey. And then this hand might be trying to manhandle me, or, oh, look, where am I at? Where's my posture? So if you see my posture, it's kind of here, outside block, retention on the weapon, trying to keep the weapon in because he's grabbed it. But isn't this a thumb to the eye? Yeah, it is. Or is that a position on his bicep to keep him off balance? So how's the headbutt? Where's the foot trap? Where's the knee spike? How can I take advantage of my close quarter tools? Of course, he has those too. I'm going to be split seconds behind, depending on where I happen to be. As he reaches for it, I might be able to go here. Okay, now it's a palace suit, which would be an inside attachment to a low block, and then distancing out, and then trying to go to acquisition of my sidearm, or I'm going to the hand-to-hand type of thing. Or if this idiot's here, I'm throwing him into the fray because I don't know who Silent Dummy is, but anything in my immediate environment. So when you look at traditional arts, wherever they happen to be, like, again, he's going for that, I'm here. So now it looks like I'm here. So I've taken a strong stance and base. I've got my hand back here where people would say, generate power for that reverse punch. This is acquisition zone. It's not a retracted punch. If anything, it's retracted to pull him off balance. If that happens, he pulls back now I'm looking for the joint lock, or I'm looking for the control maneuver based off of where I can redirect his energy. So we need to have a balance of give and take energy. That's part of this. You see, even from here, he could trap me, move, and then grab my weapon. I'll take my weapon. Oh, see, and then now we're in the struggle. So where can I go? There's a headbutt. I don't want to headbutt him in the noggin. I want to take this structure here. Bridge of the nose, eye socket, cheekbone, jawline. I don't want to run into his teeth. So I'm trying to turn his head into where I can do the most amount of damage. Especially if my balance, he's got me locked in or struggling, so my balance is centered. I can't kick, right? I can fold maybe with my elbows, but I'm also trying to keep him off. So I have to use my head until I can get his balance off, then control him from there.
Arm drag there. I saw an arm drag. Wow.
So sensitivity, that's all this is. Jesse called it sticking, so that we're stuck to each other no matter where we are. We're in here in a stuck position, and then this becomes a struggle. Just move me, manipulate. See, and I'm trying to keep things from, you see, I'll take what I can get where I can get it. There are no rules, but we're stuck together. And we have to learn. That's why I called it, when I was training military, standing grappling. I never put terms on it unless I said, well, you could research this. You could research that. Now, if you're grappling on the ground, you got a different form of leverage. It's still chisao on the ground, center line, control, and you have to look at the correlation of movement and positional alignment. and leverage and your locks, you know, I mean, so if I'm here and I hit him, I can get to my figure 4, but I can come out of my figure 4 and hit him and get to that lock here off that finger. We're both there. If I do that and he hits me, bang, I'm already there and I pick this one up. If I move that to get to this and he hits me, bang, I'm already here to get to this one. If I hit there, I go to the nut shot, yeah, and I'm getting this lock here. Now I'm going to come into the low art and the low base and disrupt him off his balance point there. So let's step back a little bit. So if we look at the foot trapping, I can close and get to this foot trap. If he's strong, he pushes through and I let him go by. Now I'm going to do what? I'm going to trap that hand. Look out, Leon. Like I said, Leon's a recovery guy. But see, so that's a little bit of that.
Can I make one request there based on something that you said earlier? We're going to take something practical because all that stuff that you just showed, it's really amazing to me. How do you make that beautiful in a solo form? How do you make it beautiful? That same concept of weapon retention. Let's make it not look like weapon retention. Let's hide it in a bit of beauty. Let's hide it in a bit of art. Same principles, right?
Okay, so,
Sinwali, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could do Sinwali, you could do Anyo. So let's go here. Let's have him do orthodox. So I want him to jab cross without hitting me and do it faster. So perceptual speed, reactionary speed. As soon as those hands come up, I'm actually seeking them right there. Now as I pull across, look, the same posture. Maybe we switch the other side. So I'm here like, oh, fuck. This is kind of an attack by draw. Again, getting back to the fencing thing, it's just a term from fencing. So even though I use cruzada and I use these attack by draws and single direct attack, those are terms from fencing. Now I can use the principle and strategy for the physical action for a single direct attack like a finger jab or a thumb to the eye or a straight fist, you know, or attack by combination. Attack by combination is within the symmetrical understanding of movement. Jab, cross, hook. You understand that. Attack by draw, nut shot, anything you want to do. See, that's progressive indirect attack. See, he's just going with whatever he attaches to. Once he initiates, so go ahead. It's an attack by draw. He drew me in, but he followed the attack by draw with a progressive indirect combination, progressive indirect attack. If he did an attack by draw and then he went into his boxing, bang, just exactly. There's some symmetry to that would be attack by combination and it's recognizable. But the fact that even when he did all of those, he ended up with a foot trap. He's integrated a mobilization. He integrated a mobilization when he did the hand trap, which startles me, and then gives him a dominant posture in a position, which then he goes back to his progressive indirect attack, singular, you see, there's never one thing like, oh yeah, I finished that with a attack by combination, It wouldn't be that because you'd probably want a foot trap, push him down. So you used an immobilization and an out balancing. Instead of kicking him in the head, you stomped on his ankle so he couldn't chase you. And then that's a socially responsible thing to do because he could piss and moan and complain, but he could probably still make it to work hobbling instead of a big broken eye socket, fractured face, or brain damage. He can at least earn a living for his family and then kind of go, yeah, I'll never do that again, but I could still support my family. So we're kind of morally and ethically within a framework of common sense. We don't know why the guy's pissed. We don't know why he's angry. We don't know why I retreated and that didn't do any good. He still continued to advance. So even though I countered it, I still have to have that ladder of escalation to neutralize the threat, but not take it any further than what it needs to be done, where I could control it and protect myself to escape, not just go, yeah, take that and stand there. What about the awareness factor of your perimeter? Right. So our diagrams of 8 angles of movement, that's that trajectory there. That's angles on the roof, especially in urban warfare. Or pool table. Where's the pool table? Where's this guy? Where's that table? Where's that guy? Bob's here right behind me. So I'm aware of everything is in some kind of order to where I engage silent fighter. I can move over here like this. You know, I can shift and sweep him, grab that chair, hit Bob, move it, put it as a barrier here, and now deal with him. You see? So it's about, but gee, that's footwork. Everything inside that footwork from moving out. Oh, look, low block. Is it a low block? No, it's a nut shot. Finger jab. Is it a finger jab? Looks like a high karate rising block with a finger jab. Acquisition. Single direct attack. Close and move. Right? Put him between Rob and me. You know, lunge. Boom, and cut this prick and then close to get to him. And then stick my dog on him. Get him, Leon. Get him.
So, Datu, it seems like these all sound like the way you teach and the way that you've created NSI. It seems to me like just a way to communicate through as many people as possible how violence happens and how you deal with those things.
Yeah, because go ahead.
Because you're calling the same thing so many things, right? So in that way you can communicate to someone who does Wing Chun, who does Jiu-Jitsu, who does Taekwondo or Muay Thai. Would you say these things are universal? Are they? Is there a way that somebody who may be trapped in a classical or a traditional just Wing Chun, is there a way for them to be able to expand in the way that you expand these concepts? Because you take concepts like weapon retention and you can say there's Wing Chun in this. You know, you can take a Silat or a karate concept and say there's Wing Chun in this, and vice versa. So how does one free themselves to be able to learn this stuff if they're trapped within the condition of, well, I only have a Wing Chun academy that's 5 minutes from my house? Like, what do they need to do?
Go ahead.
Well, I'd say there's universal principles and there's balance points that once you learn those, you can access them through the traditional tools that you learn at those schools. Once you learn them, that's why Datu shows that knife hand and the weapon retention. I mean, there's so much involved even in just Sinwali, you know, and everybody does a low block, everybody does a high block.
I still don't understand Sinawali that well.
Now you change the intent, right? So even here, we're trapped here. If I go to a Sinwali, now I have the foot trap, right? I can throw him right there off of that. Or if I go here, now I can throw him here. So everything's about center line, right? Even like when we do the Wing Chun, people need to understand this is about pressure and about center line, right? If he overcommits and he pushes this way, then I'm here, right? Now I'm here. I can go to the neck break. But even if I throw a jab out and he overcommits here, now I'm here, right? Because he's crossed his center line on that jab, and now I'm here. Now I'm here, right? Now I have a throw here. So these things about center line and balance points, like the elbow controls the body. If I control the elbow, I can move the body. If I control the head, I move the body. If I stabilize this foot, he can't move. Now I have these balance points. But a lot of that can be, I can ask my asking hand, I can go with the high block here. Well, now he's giving me pressure out. So now he's opened this up. It's about this center line. When he pushes out, I clear here. Now I'm here. If he doesn't, I go here. I'm here. So understanding the balance point, the center line, and the body levers, and then you could use the tools from basically all the arts have similar tools.
Yeah.
I mean, so the structure from Wing Chun is here, right? If my structure collapses, he owns me. So if just like the high block, if my high block's here, he comes right through it. But if my structure here, my high block, this is the same as the structure in Bong Sao, right? So a lot of the arts have this, and a lot of it is what your intent to do with that, you know, and understanding the pressure. Just like what Datu teaches the fulcrums off the stick, it's very similar to Chi Sao.
Yeah.
Right.
And we want to move to that too, just because, hey, you know, I don't want to keep everybody all night. You know, it ain't about all that. Next thing you know, you want me to bad life.
Hey,
I just want you to know it takes more skill
oh,
to bad dance than it does the good dance, baby.
listen, Datu, good point. Good point. Thank you guys so much. You've been so generous. Oh no, here we go. All right, you want to leave us with a parting gift here? I don't want to take up too much of your time either, but this has been
simple movement,
really cool.
like Spin Wally. You know, I mean, it's really
Guys,
what it is.
take a step back for a second.
3, 4. So we're just tapping sticks, but I want to know. Remember, let's stay with the stick. When we're tapping 1, 2, 3, 4, I know when 4 comes, that 1's got to come, and I'm coming out of that. I've opened the window. That's an attack by draw, so I drop that over and drop that in. That's a hit. That's the lock, and that's the poke, and then he strikes again. I'm back on the other side. He punches. I'm here this way. That's a hook. Whoa, right into that hit. That's the fulcrum. That's hold your stick up. See that's the short stick power. See, that slips through. So when we're coming, he strikes. Doesn't matter where I'm already here. I'm seeking that out. I'm coming into this. If his punch comes through, I'm crashing through that like a Bong Sao. Feels like it too, right? So, I mean, it's line familiarization and attack by draw, movement. Doesn't matter what posture he takes. Take a posture and he hit me. I'm already here. I'm looking at that. I'm attacking by draw, and this is my strip, or this is my position that I'm looking for. And then I'm firing that stick right back at him. I'm peeling that back this way to get to that hit. I don't care. I abandon it. Right? Hook, carry by, step that up.
Damn.
You see, I'm not going to get, he strikes me. I'm not going to get that, but I might get this because I already know that that's there. You see, I'm just trying to bind him. Temporary immobilization. I don't care if he drops a stick. He ain't hitting me with it because I'm jacking him right there, and I got a foot trap on him. And look, I got his balance. You know, this is all kata. This is all form. This is all movement analysis, but it's about understanding where you are in conjunction with him. So if the camera is a third party and the conflict is here, he strikes me. I'm here looking like that, and I'm moving. See, I'm putting him between that. Bang, bang, bumping. His strike comes back through. I'm hooking in that. That's already a hit. That's a lock into the throw. Sorry, man. A lot of this shit becomes spontaneous, and that's how our class is. It doesn't matter. He strikes. I'm already here at the left hand, so I might as well take that out. Right? Yes. Doesn't matter if I'm right or left hand. He strikes. I'm here and I'm hitting the head, but I bring that up so that but that's already a thrust. Now hit the knee and hit that head. See how that attack by draw hits. He strikes. I don't have a weapon. I'm just shielding. Right?
Oh shit.
Here. These are his fucking eyes. Right? So
oh God.
I want Rob. I want all these guys to express themselves without restrictions of stylistic views, right?
Amen.
And then to activate that by an understanding of movement. Just give me a second right here.
But boxing and wrestling first. Oh man, I feel like something's about to go down. Rob, what's going on there?
Oh, he's going to gain and maybe something a little bit with it. I don't know.
Hey, I appreciate your time, by the way. Thanks for doing this. I told Datu we're going to be like an hour, and we're going on our second hour. So, yeah, thank you for your time. What is going on here?
Well, it's all concept of movement. You can have single stick first. So, old motherfucker with a cane, he strikes me. I want to be here. See, that's already a thrust. That's already hit. That's already a lock, see? And as I pull him in, I'm just slipping that out like that. Now I'm down here and I catch that leg and I go in here with the sweep and the takedown. So as he strikes me, I'm here. So that could be straight up inside right here. This is an arm crank now. Look, I just let go of the staff and I got my throw. Don't discount the simplicity of a stick or a cane or anything like that. He strikes, see, I'm immediately coming in. His punch comes, I'm monitoring that. That's a quick jab right there. So that would be a hit, or see a rotation into that hit. Bang, boom, I'm already here. What's this? This is a choke. This is a throw. This is a throw. You see? That's a disengage, and I take out that shin. You see, but the beauty of all of that comes out into the simplicity of the staff. Here, take that one. Yeah. And I'll use shillelagh. This is given to me, made for me by Roger Godet. I believe that's how he spells his name, but he's on my Facebook page. So it could be a walking stick. It could be anything. But Rob's going to give me a head, knee, knee, head, just target. Head, knee, head, knee, knee, head. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just numbered them so that it's a head, knee, knee, head. Each one draws head, knee, knee. Oh, see, attack by draw should be coming out, right? So, but we want to match. We want to understand distance, range, body rotation, pivotal power, and alignment. So when we hit one, we're hitting that. I don't let him cross my center line. I meet the center line. So right now it's offense, defense. We're equalized. The low one, and the high one. So I'm going to shift. So I pull and hit, pull and hit, pull and hit, pull and hit. He pulls and he strikes on closing in. So part of the close is to smash the hand and take his balance. So I shift off and I hit the rib cage. He wants to hook me in the head. I pull that in. There's a cross. You see, I hook the disarming. Hold on to your weapon. As I hit the jaw, his weapon's lodged against my beer belly, but lodged against that, I jerk it, hit, and then rake. So this is just this action, which is what? Rowing a boat. You see? So he strikes, I hit that pass, move that, I row the boat. Bam, 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 right? I distance back out. So now I could be at this range. I could close up and baseball bat. Right, I could go back to passive position when he strikes. I can shield, I can clear, and I can punch. Now I can rotate back and hit. So if you don't know how to maneuver or manipulate or switch ends and control your weapon advantage, whether I want to poke or I want to fucking knock him out, it's all about those things. But if I don't have that, and he's got a pool cue and he like does the club. So what's that posture? Silent fighter.
Thing you showed at the beginning.
Right there. He's come in a little bit. He strikes one. Same angle that he's using. Back in. I'm using that. So what's open on me is my rib cage. So I'm going to shorten this up and diffuse that. Low block position. Oh, there it is. See the outside block? I'm going here. Accelerates the position. You see, so what is that? See, these guys weren't stupid. They were like getting their tonfa or their sai or something off their waistline to negate the guy that had closed on them with a weapon and somehow had to defend, utilizing the technical skills and limitational cultural influences, styles, based on what was available through their tribal contacts.
I guess
You
people
know,
just
I'm not
didn't
gonna
learn
recommend
to
you, like,
interpret.
try, because once you're in there, you could be just an infiltrator. So people protected their circles fairly tight. You know, you can see that today in, like gangland drug dealing and shit. They ain't letting you in. And boy, you got to work your way in. I mean, all you got to do is watch the crime channel and see how the undercover cops infiltrate the biker gangs, and the shit that they use, they're bigger criminals than the fucking outlaws are sometimes, because they're trying to infiltrate according to their government puppet master. But I mean, there's some weird shit goes on that you just got to wonder. Same thing with our military or anybody else. You just have to recognize the threat. And for most of us civilians, the threat's so far out there, and wow, what if? That just sounds like a conspiracy to me. And then you realize that it's tumbleweeding all back into you, and that there was a reason for it, or there's a identifiable potential for it. So it's hard to kind of stagger around in a drunken stupor thinking you're like got all the shit covered, all the bases covered. Oh, you're a great martial artist, but you never shoot. I didn't shoot for years because I knew I was going to shoot somebody. If I'd have had a handgun, and several times I did, but I was out of bullets, I just pistol whipped their asses. Right? The fine art of pistol whipping came dissipated when you had automatic weapons and fast reloading. But back in the old days, when you only owned 6 bullets and 1 gun, sometimes that shit just went off the chart. I mean, you are the environment you live in. So don't judge me by having never lived where I lived. Like I said, my little brother blew a guy's leg off with a fucking shotgun. He put a warning shot in the air. The guy had a knife in his face, and he's like, boom, get the fuck off. Yeah, right. Grab the barrel, finger on the trigger. I'm going to take your gun away from you. Oh, shit. I blew my own leg off, didn't I? Yeah, you did, motherfucker.
That was an attack by draw, I think.
Happened right here in the neighborhood. Everybody knew it was a warden, So I don't get drunk in public. I know the fucking guy is probably still walking around some fucking place thinking I look like my brother. I mean, what are you going to do? That's violence in that society. I'll live by whatever I did because I have a clear mind and a clear conscience, and I have social values, and I have respect for others. And I try to let that be my guide. Let me do one more thing. I'll pull out a couple travel wrenches and we'll close that shit up.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I was just saying, I think that shotgun was, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, that seemed like an attack by draw. I know, we should be laughing about these things. I mean, a guy's leg got blown off with a shotgun. But no, I really have, I mean, no one can articulate it like Datu Kelly Worden. You know what I mean? He's got a colorful way with words. But I mean, how would you characterize what this is? The fact that you're just seeing things and things just happen, and you can call it whatever you want.
Well, like I said, when it becomes instinctual, and what I really gained a lot of was because, like, no one surprises me anymore, right? I have guys jump out at me and playing around because they know what my reaction is, and a lot of that comes from the drills. That people throw things away before they understand them, right? But a lot of what
I'm guilty of that.
They build a neurological response to things, right? And that's when things become instinctual, and it just happens. And you have to remember your final goal is to end the conflict. You know what I mean? And that's where people kind of get lost. They don't stay with things long enough to understand them, and it doesn't become an instinctual act, and they don't understand the end goal is always to end the conflict, whichever way it could be,
Absolutely.
So,
all right, Datu, take it away.
cool, man. So I got my blue travel wrench. You know, a travel wrench was really designed, you know, people misinterpret all kinds of shit. I could have did edged weapon karambits. People are pissing and moaning about you carrying a small folder. So ethically, before Ernie came out with it or Tarani came out with a commercial one, I had a company go, hey, why don't you do a karambit for us? And so I said, no, I won't. But I made some out of G10 for the Israeli embassy people and allowed that to be transferred into my method of movement. So this is a tool to teach people how to utilize the knife because of line familiarization, body mechanics, but it increases your baton, it increases your empty hand skills, and it empowers you to use anything as an improvised weapon. Okay, so I mean, first and foremost, if we look at just the vertical punch, that's sternum and solar plex. So if that was a straight through shot, for whatever reason, we're here and I hit that, well, where's the uppercut? Where's the hammer fist? Where's the hook punch? You see, all of that is right there. So if he punches me and I do an inside block, even though I don't want to necessarily do a, you know, again, it could be attack the attacking weapon. Remember, action's quicker than reaction. So it could be that his punch comes out and I have to react, so I'm cutting that. He just back fists off that same line. So now I'm out here. Now he hammer fists to the groin and then he head strikes. See? So I'll do attachment sensitivity sticking. No, that's all right. Just hit me and back fist and low punch and rising punch. You see, now he does the same thing with his left. He punches. He goes around me and he goes down into the opening and rising and do that again. And it's 1, back fist, 2, 3, 4. See, and go ahead, punch again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that's really all the structured blocks of a plus sign. So we have our plus sign there, right? So now if I go to time sign, he goes to his boxer's jab. So he hits jab and I'm seeking the hand for the cross. Now pack, that's my speed bag. That's all that is. So, or it's figure 8 crossing. So I'm here and I intercept and I attack by draw, or why wait for something I know that's coming? So as I see that, I instigate and I move, and the pressure allows the trap. So the trap isn't like, I'm seeking the trap. I'm not seeking the trap. Trap is properly placed pressure in an effort to strike through. Okay, so now we got the plus sign and the time sign, and then zeros are controlled off of that. So if Rob strikes, I intercept 1, I'm intercepting 2, I feed that hit, coming back for that pick, he punches, I look at that carry by, that's a setup, that's a hit. I drop that because he's coming, there's the gunting into the hit, he catches that, pari hit. You see, so it's no different. I go reverse grip knife because anything I do with the travel wrench is reverse grip knife. So everything I just did with the travel wrench, from plus sign, time sign to all that other shit, is just reverse grip knife. So Rob strikes, doesn't matter where it is. I got a small arc up, second arc pass, hook. There's the pressure. I attack by draw, bang, right there inside. Positional alignment, Rob punches, I just bury that straight down. Or I hook and pass and carry and then insert. You see, because, and we're just going to work that off of swinging gait. See, all the swinging gait actions are really off of this like, see, and I'm closing, I'm moving. See, bang, 1, huh, see. This punch comes, I bilge that, I move off to the side, stab him in the forearm, and, you know, rare. Knife can be an empowering tool, but it's just a big pin. It's anything I want it to be. And it activates those actions. As we're swinging gait, no, you got the left. So swinging gait, see, I'm not pushing his hand down. I'm going into that. I'm going into that. When I touch this, I'm looking for that. To get this, I'm looking for that nut shot. And see how the alignment set that up? Back to Anyo. Form, brush, grab, strike. He's in boxing position. He hits, jab, cross, pop, pop. So I look at attack, attack, hit. Where's my cruzada? I pull him. He pulls me back. I step through. This is my standing lock. The foot trap. Look, there's no place for that shoulder to go. Rob's twitching like a bitch, man. He knows that he needs to do something. He may hit. I'm already right there. And now I know I got all of that. Look, I got time to deploy too. You see, so my deployment time and acquisition to my tools may not be relevant to, okay, I just happen to have this in my hand, right? So it's all based off of where I can go. It might be that he throws a jab and I seek that and come over here. Now I'm in position here. So, but a lot like stick work, you strip the hand and then you're both picking up. I can't hardly bend over as many times as I need to during an Arnis class, right? Let alone a seminar. But a simple thing like the fluttering hand, and this is a cadence. This is the drums, the beats. And then the sequence there is to disrupt the cadence. Okay, so I've disrupted that cadence, right? He strikes, I just disrupt the cadence. That sets up the opportunity for this. Where's his nuts? Right there. Oh, where's his jaw? Remember Heartbreak Ridge? The Swede? Like, give me the fucking jaw. You know, and a finger manipulation will set that up just as a simple, you know, moment in time of an activation of movement. I hit like this, I hit here, I get this lock. He blocks that. I get this lock, yeah. There's the carry by, there's the setup, there's the elbow, there's the eye peel, and there's fucking Bob right there or here. But,
oh man.
You know, if I'm teaching, the students know not to like, oh, let's get a closer look.
Yeah.
Because I'll use their fucking ass as a barrier or a shield once I demonstrate what it is I'm doing. And it's not because I'm being a prick. It's I just want them to realize, hey, if shit's breaking out, grab your old lady and realize where the door is. Put barriers in front of you on your way out. That's a chair. That's a table. If I push Rob over a fucking table, that's those big guys over there. Are they going to chase me? Or are they going to beat his ass for spilling beer on his old lady, their old lady? I'm already fucking 40 feet away. So, anyway.
Wow.
I do love style. I do love martial arts. I do, you know, classically the Anyo is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Cruzada, step through, push, brush, grab, strike, turn, turn, turn. You know, but it's not 5 different guys. Look, here's my brush, grab, strike. Here's my brush, grab, strike. Here's my cruzada. Here's my position, right to my brush, grab, strike. He punches, I got this movement. I move him and I hit him. I attack by draw, I move him and I hit him. I attack by draw, I move him and I hit him. Each one of those. So I'm attached to him through the whole form. I'm not abandoning him, abandoning that guy. Oh, that'll teach you. That'll teach you. And then I'm not using it as a complete sequence. My brush, grab, strike is off his jab, cross, brush, grab, strike. He blocks the strike. That's where I get the center lock or the pickup. So even if I abandon that, that's a nut shot. That's into a lock. That's into a foot trap and a throw. If I disengage for whatever reason, I'm back to brush, grab, strike. Now, do I have to wait? No, I can pick that up off of this action. Now I can crash that and go right back to my cruzada. And there's an elbow hit into another hit, into a nut shot, into a positional throw.
Oh, he's about to draw.
Into a deployment.
Bam.
It's all fucking kata. It's all Anyo.
Hey. I love that. Datu. That's what we're looking for right there. I love that. I love how you sort of wrap this all up by saying you love Anyo, you love katas, you love form. And just to reiterate, something that you mentioned earlier, which I think is very, very important. You learn the art, the beauty, the kata, the anyo, the form after you learn the practical stuff, and not the other way around. I love that philosophy. Thank you so much for doing this. How you feeling, by the way? How you feeling?
I feel pretty good, man. Just on another note, you were here at the Water and Steel. You filmed. You got a lot of cool shots. I really like the shadow shot where I was. A lot of those were unexpected moments. You just captured it. I really want to, publicly thank you for, first of all, coming there, not to see me, because I told you when you got in my fucking car, I don't even like you, asshole. I don't even know why you're here. Maybe I didn't quite say it like that, but I kind of let you know that, prove me you deserve to be here, because don't waste my time. I really wanted you to meet the people. The people around me are what really is, hey, I was on my deathbed just a couple months earlier than that. So I'm being critiqued for, let's see, kidney failure, being on dialysis for 2 years, going through a couple years of chemotherapy, just getting a bone marrow stem cell transplant. If you guys don't know what that is, that's where they kill you with chemo, destroy your immune system, and then they bring you back to life like Frankenstein. And then I went out and taught the camp. I organized the camp. I didn't miss it, but it was the team that kept the camp going. I was just dragging my ass. After a workout like this, I sometimes literally kind of collapse. The chemotherapy, as soon as they hit me with several different formulas, I guess you would call them, but one of them immediately made it to where I couldn't walk. The neuropathy was so bad in my feet, and to this day, that's 3 years later, I still suffer with that, the neuropathy in my feet. But it was the forms, it was the kata. I would sit over there and watch Rob teach the class, and I wasn't even supposed to be around people because I didn't have an immune system. But I would watch the class, and I'd get out there and I'd go, no, like, do this one thing. And then I'd stumble back to my chair. And, but some of these people came up on the Aperture site and then just ripped me apart. Oh, look, he's sucking wind. Hey, you,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean,
suck wind.
It's
So
the internet, Datu. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
People are so critical now. I often wondered why I had to suffer with all the different things that I did. And it was really so that I could become a more compassionate man to the challenges of others. Jesse never trained fighters per se. If they were fighters and they were there, but if they were there to train fighters or to hurt other people, he would rather train that lady or the new husband who comes to Jesse and said, my ex-wife or my wife's ex-husband's getting out of prison and he said he was going to kill us. Well, when did he get out? Last week. Well, you're a little fucking late, but let's talk about this, this, and this. And Jesse would accept that guy as a student and then educate him the best way he could. So that's how he treated his people, was he was there to help people and empower people. And that's what the arts are really for, empower them. Even how I express it with foul language, that's expression. When he comes up on me and he gets in my face, I'm already a half a beat behind. How am I going to regroup? I have to literally think, fuck you. And I have to express that to get the adrenal dump to fire that resistance up, or I'm now compliant because I'm overwhelmed. So, use language, verbal judo, if you will. Verbal judo is that. It's not necessarily, well, you guys, now, if you just think about this, you're probably going to get both in trouble. They're both pissed off, or, you're trying to control a violent situation. It's not going to be passive language. You have to speak within the neighborhood and the group and the environment that you're in. And, sometimes it unfortunately includes foul language. And, listen to any fucking rap song. God damn. It's like, dude, really? You're destroying the shit. Give me a little Al Green, would you? I gotta go home and cleanse myself to some Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
But yeah, just rock and roll, American. I'll always be a martial artist. If it wasn't for martial artists, I'd be in prison and dead. And it's not because I'm a bad guy. It's because the neighborhood influences you. Either have enough balls to say no, or you get along and play with the group. And then when you get along and play with the group, because it's kind of exciting, and then somebody gets killed, somebody gets arrested, somebody goes to prison, but you were there and you didn't get caught, that's when you learn. I've tried to tell this to my own sons and my students. That guy gave his life so you wouldn't give yours. So you're going to waste that life? You're going to ignore that lesson in life and play the same silly fucking games you've been playing? So he's dead because he gave his life for you. He gave his life for me. So we need to embrace that aspect in life and society and self-reflection. So I'm really a spiritual guy, but sometimes people need a demon master to step out and realize that, this guy's a dark angel. He ain't the dark side. But if you ain't ever walked it, you don't know shit about it. So shut the fuck up. Anyway, just my thoughts on things.
Listen, Datu, you are one of a kind, and I feel almost embarrassed that you thanked me for filming it, man. Thank you for the experience. That was really something special, and I've written about it. That one camp was transformative to me. It showed me a different side of martial arts. It kind of made me feel welcome, because I too don't like to be pegged into a category. I like to see things broadly. I like to express myself in an artistic way. I like to get practical when I need to, and I like to connect the dots just as you have. And you're truly inspirational to me and really instrumental in sort of validating that I can be myself. I can be unique. I can find my own path. I don't need to be one thing or the other. I can switch from one thing and the other, and then more. And then, it was really, really transformative for me to be there. Not just for the opportunity to get to spend time with you and get to know who you are, because even before I got there, so many people spoke so highly of you, right? And then when I met you, it was like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. And then I met your community, and that was absolutely incredible. I've never met so many people who are just sweethearts deep down inside with, checkered pasts and histories and who do bad things to bad people, getting along in that environment. And the way that you've cultivated that community is really something. Like, that's your legacy. That is that community that you've built, that philosophy that pulses through each and every one of those people. That's your legacy. And that's incredibly inspiring, and it's very impressive to me. It's a rarity. It's a rarity to find a community that embraces so many different arts in the way that your community does, right? Without, being too, you do that voice. It's not that. There is a duality, a real duality that works within the NSI community, where it can be both practical and artistic. There is a true yin and yang that exists within your community. And I just want to say that was amazing for me. And if nothing else ever comes out of it, I'll always have that moment. And, and I've made some friends along the way that I've met there. So I just wanted to thank you for that. You've done something really, really incredible. I'll have you on the show anytime you want. I just think that, and another thing I got to commend you for is the fact that you're still out there, that you're still putting material out, that you put up with some bullshit that didn't exist back in the day. Somebody making a comment off your video, oh, he's out of breath, without really knowing the history of what it took for you to just even be there, right? So thank you for doing that. Thank you for continuing to be an example, not just for people, not just for your contemporaries, but for generations coming up. I have a garage dojo here. We cite you all the time. when we're doing hubad and when we're doing chisao, but we want to use it to facilitate a double leg takedown, and somebody brings up silat and says that's the same thing, your presence is with us. And so thank you very much for that. I'll fly your banner. The NSI bandana flies in my garage dojo for a reason. It's there, and it's a constant reminder that we're connecting the dots, that we're only here for a little bit of time, and we might as well, enjoy it and be compassionate, but still be ourselves. We can use colorful language if we want. So, Datu, thank you. I know I'm talking a lot. I'm rambling, but
no, man. No, Water and Steel number 40th year. We did it last year, even without the governor's permission. We just had it at a local park, and it's funny because I walked the dog up there, and there's two cops there, and I'm going, shit. Okay, hey guys, got a minute? They turn around, Kelly. One of them I taught his 8-year-old son, and then the other one was in one of the T-Town battles. Actually, he was in the Canada versus USA Muay Thai fight card that I put on. Maurice was there, and Victor Solier. I was the WKA Washington State director, and I trained all the referees. But I was in a suit and tie putting that fight card on. So Corey was there. He was the Pierce County Sheriff. And then the other guy, my wife knew immediately who I was because he had delivered his kid to the school where Rob started in 2008, and he got to ride to school in the back of the patrol car. So he was like, yeah, man, I just got out of my dad's cop car. But so I told him, I said, hey, man, we're gonna have a camp here. We're gonna do one day. I didn't want to get 2 days and be, infiltrated. But they was like, oh, big deal, man. Have you seen the homeless tents around the park? They're swinging machetes. So if you guys want to swing knives and sticks, we don't care. But it was cool to, just approach two cops out of nowhere that I hadn't seen for a number of years. And they were both former students. But we got our Water and Steel this year. Again, I wasn't going to put up with the bullshit of our governor attacking our camp, which is All Saints Center. I've used it for over 25 years. Prior to that, we were on one of the other islands, but we're on Raft Island, the All Saints Center. But they're targeting the Christian retreats. I didn't want to create any problems, so we're having it at Belton's Gym, 5,000 square foot. There's a ring there. I may get up in there and show a little bit of four corner. I'm used to move a little bit, And, you wouldn't discount Angelo Dundee as a coach. But, martial arts people have different criteria, I guess, for what they perceive as value. And experience is one of those. But so we have a ring, and the gym's 5,000 square feet already. Of course, it's Bob Anderson, Professor Trigg, Belton Lubis, Dr. Brett Jacques. His street sambo stuff is just ruthless. There ain't anything. He was also a student of Professor Remy's. And then we have Dan Anderson I allowed to come in or open the door for him to come in and share some of his knowledge and skill. And there's a lot, the Wartak defense, the Northwest Mafia.
Hey.
What's that mafia thing? The Modern Arnis Fighting Instructors Association. It can mean whatever you think it means, but I got a word for it or two. But yeah, the Wartak team. I mean, there's some great guys there. Charlie Wilson, of course.
Oh man, that guy's staff work is next level.
His silent fighter is just brutally ruthless, and there's dozens of instructors come. It's an instructor's mecca. No matter who you are, when you come in,
straight up,
you can get paired up with Rob, and he's like, "Yeah, here, man, let's just do this." Next thing you know, you're paired up with Bob Anderson, or Professor Trigg goes, "Here, let me help you with that."
That's crazy.
What time do you ever get that? I mean, it's so. And then I dropped the price down to like $250, I think. And usually I buy you food and I rent the island and we pay for the facilities. So there's none of that. We got a decent hotel that gives us a good rate. You're in charge of your own food. Saturday night we're going to have it catered by Filipino or Latino or both. and you'll pay for your $12 or $15 dish, whatever they're wanting. So, but $249 for 3 days of this shit,
Man, it's
you know, you might as well make it. And door opens and closes according to who you are, not who decides that we're violating, mask dates. You know, I wear my mask on my nutsack. Anyway.
Yo, one of the best camps that I've ever been to. It's just an incredible experience. Hopefully, you know, maybe next year it can get back to like normal, because I really appreciate the overnight experience. Everything was amazing. But if you're there for the instruction, right, for the knowledge, you know, try to make it out this year. 100% vouch for this camp, brother. But again, thank you so much for your time, Datu Kelly. Right. Mr. Sharp, is he still there?
Privilege. Yep. Leon's waiting to go in the house.
Okay. Listen, thank you guys so much. All right.
All right. Take care.
Can we do this again? Let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, I want a copy of this.
Yeah, you'll get to see.
Don't show my wife, Joe. Don't show my wife.
All right, my brother.
You said what?
Thank you guys very much for your time. I'll see you next time, okay? Take care.
Right, cool.
All right, guys. Wow. Okay, well, that was 2.5 hours. I'm going to have to cut that down, compartmentalize it. There were a lot of moments that was shared. But listen, you guys, man, someone like a Datu Kelly Worden, I mean, how do you even describe that guy? How do you even describe that guy? But to me, he's inspiring. You know, he's inspiring. He is his own man. And I kind of want to emulate who he is in my own way. You know, guys, somebody who can live a life in the martial arts while still being completely sovereign, being yourself. You know, I love the way he speaks. I love the way that he navigates through practicality based on the individual or individuals in front of him. And I love how he can correlate something like, you know, weapon retention to Wing Chun and Filipino martial arts and karate, right? That's really inspiring to me. I really, you know, not to toot my own horn, not to make this about, you know, buying stuff. And of course, Datu Kelly Worden has created a bunch of material already that you can get on DVD. Just look the man up. He's incredibly inspiring, really. But if you want to see the way that I captured the 39th NSI Water and Steel Camp, you guys can check out aperture.university. It's there. It's got a whole bunch of instructors. Honestly, Tuhon Belton's knife boxing alone is worth the ticket price. What else did I super enjoy? Charlie Wilson's staff work was just incredible. I never was really interested in the staff until I went to that camp. But, you know, Datu Kelly Worden, he's unique, but there are others, I think, who sort of, if I can use the word, suffer through the same social media bullshit that we're all trying to navigate through. You know, too often we're quick to judge without enough context. We're too quick to propose one path's superiority over the other. And here's a guy that says, make your own damn path, right? And, you know, acknowledge the paths that have come before you. You can walk on there for a little bit. But walk your own path, create your own path. And I really love that. What's inspiring to me, again, is that you don't have to choose to be one thing or the other. You know, as human beings, we're nuanced, and as martial artists, even more so, and in a way that we get to express through physicality, you know. But unfortunately, we live in this social landscape where somebody sees a clip of an old white dude who's out of breath doing a kata or an anyo, and they'll comment about it, you know, without dissecting the nature or the content of what he's trying to explain, without even trying to understand the context that brought him there to begin with. So when Datu Kelly Worden talks about compassion, he means that, right? He means that. And if there's anything that this show today was all about, right? It's that. It's this connectivity, connecting the dots, and compassion. And those two things, those dots are very easy to connect, right? If we understand where each other is coming from, it's a lot easier to be compassionate. So listen, yo, there are some of you that stuck it out from beginning to end. I don't know how you guys listen to a 2.5-hour podcast, but thank you. I'm going to chop this up, make it a little bit more digestible. Check out FMA Source for the full thing. I know this is on my Facebook page as well. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for listening to all of that. Now go Google search. If you don't know who Datu Kelly Worden is, do as much digging as you can. Contact him on Facebook. He's very open. As you can tell, he's very, very generous. The guy could have gone on for another 2 hours. So I promise I'll have him on again. We're going to focus this a little bit more to be more physical, more demonstrative. I really just wanted you guys to get a feel for who he was as a person. Really inspiring individual. We're lucky to have him. So Datu Kelly Worden, the NSI family, thank you very much for existing. Guys, my name is Paulo Rubio, aka GN. Thank you very much for being here on FMA Source, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for your support.